Most of you guys know me as one of the Knight Rider historians, and that's great. It is something I am very proud of. But I also have a lot of other interests that are not related at all to Knight Rider. Knight Rider is just one small aspect of my life. I've been married for 15 years and I have 2 small children, and that is my greatest accomplishment. So like I said, not every aspect of my life is related to Knight Rider. So just to show you guys that I have other interests besides Knight Rider, let me introduce you to my kids. This is my son, Devin.
Hello.
And this is my daughter, Bonnie.
Daddy, where's the grappling hook?
Not now. I should point out that these are actually my children. They are not actors that I hired for this, and they are in no way being compensated for this.
But you said that we could have $5 if we did this, and my name isn't Devin.
Oh, quiet, Debbie.
Debbie.
I like to think of myself as a fun, tough, but fair father. And my kids and I have tons of fun that is not even related to Knight Rider. For example, we love to play Frisbee. Okay, Bonnie, you ready? Oh, come on. It's not like I threw a bowling ball at you. And I always make sure that they get their daily exercise. Oh, come on. A car can turn that wheel faster than you. And on those rare occasions when they misbehave,
We're destroying offenders!
I make them sit in timeout. Don't get any tears on that fabric. That's an original seat from the show. So as you can see, Knight Rider is just one small aspect of my life. All right, now that I've got that laid out for you, let's dig into today's episode. In this video, you're gonna see
taking apart the semi's dashboard and seeing if the lights work. Cleaning up more race poop. Revealing some of KITT's secrets. Oh. Reuniting KITT and the semi after 35 years. And recreating a scene from KITT vs. KARR. My daddy says I can stop cleaning this truck if you subscribe to his channel, and my hand is going numb. Please help.
oh yeah, and one last thing that every good father does. Bribes their kids for help. There you go. Yeah, there you go, straight from Alpine Crest.
It's such a nice, decent little town.
And remember, us kids can make a difference. I'm not actually British. Goodbye.
Hey guys, good to see you again. I decided to bring you along with me on what might be a little bit of a historical moment. I don't know. So this is the first time we are reuniting one of our screen-used cars with the screen-used semi. So just to give you a little background, as you know, we own 2 of the 5 surviving Trans Ams used in the series. The one that I am sitting on, pretended to be Michael Knight, was used in the 3rd and 4th seasons, mainly in the 4th season. And there was specifically one episode where this car and that truck were on the set the same day, at least that we know of anyways. And that one episode is season 4's The Wrong Crowd. So as you know, in that episode, the semi behind us is hijacked by a bunch of bikers, and Michael and KITT come to the rescue. So there's a few scenes, mainly at the mom and pop's diner, that area. So they have the semi hidden in a warehouse, right? And the warehouse was right across the street from the Ma and Pa's diner. I think that's what it was called. I can't remember. Anyways. So there's some scenes there right about in the middle of the episode where KITT comes through and he's has his windows tinted and he's pretending that Michael Knight is still in there, and it gets Scott Hollander, he makes him believe that Michael's in the car. KITT takes off. In reality, it's supposed to be just KITT and Michael's hiding disguised as a biker, but KITT takes off, all the bikers follow, and then so Michael, dressed as a biker, then comes in and figures out who's involved with the hijacking, tries to take the semi back and whatnot. So in that whole segment right there is this car and that semi-tractor. So this kit was used pretty much anytime in the 4th season, with few exceptions. Anytime in the 4th season you saw tinted windows, that was this car, amongst some other uses. But so while this kit and that semi didn't share the screen for any specific scene, they were both physically there at the time, with KITT, you know, over near the diner, and then the semi in the warehouse. So let's just take a moment to kind of just take this in. This car and that truck being reunited for the first time since 1986, really. So, you know, the show ended. This car stayed at the studio for a while, but that truck, you know, it was used on a couple other productions, but then it went back and was sold as a regular GMC General tractor. So it's interesting, you know, it's interesting to me personally how, you know, the paths of two objects, and even people really, but in this case we're talking about objects, the paths, you can be so closely aligned, right? And then at some point they diverge. And in this case they diverged for, gosh, 35 years. Is that right? Yeah, 35 years, 1986 to 2021, 35 years, their paths went like this. And now here we are in 2021, and they've come back together. Not only have they come back together, but they've come back together on the opposite side of the country, right? It was, you know, the last time these two were together, they were in sunny California. Sunny Southern California. And here we are on the East Coast, and now they're back together again. So let's do that. I also want to give you some updates on the semi and where we're at. We're going to clean some of the dashboard interior and see if we found any more surprises there, and kind of give you a walkthrough of where we're at, and maybe give you a little demo of the electronics on the truck, and let's see what works and what doesn't and what we have to fix. All right, so we'll start with our screen use kit, and let's see if we can do kind of a cool shot here. I kind of like that. So yeah, so this car was the same one you saw in Jay Leno's garage back in 2018. And it's pretty much been sitting in hibernation for the most part because of the pandemic and other things. We also have the dash half torn apart because we're preparing to install the insert dash, which was in this car when it was on display at the studio. So let's just do a little walk through. You know, we've never done any real videos on either of our screen use cars. That will be changing, I promise. But for now, we'll give you kind of a look at where we're at here. So you can see we've got a lot of the dash out. We've got the insert dash kind of placed in there temporarily just to fit things. That is an original steering wheel. You know, original voice box, original everything. The lower console isn't original, but we have the original lower console, just not in there yet. And of course the pods and everything. So it's coming along. We still have a ways to go here, but we're hoping to get the car finished up soon. And we've got our trusty PMD seats. So interesting story, maybe, for some of you, I don't know. When we got this car, it did not have PMD seats in it, right? It had heavy duty vinyl seats. In fact, it had the P seats, if you've watched that video on our channel. If not, it's some of our finest journalism ever, so please check that out. Now they only mildly smell like mouse pee. But this car had those P seats in. We wanted to, when we restored it, gosh, almost 10 years ago at this point, of course, we had to put PMDs in. So there's a neat story about these PMDs. I actually bought these PMDs out of a junkyard. They were blue, and I bought them in 1998 from a junkyard. I paid 25 bucks for the pair. Try doing that now at a junkyard for PMD seats. 25 bucks. Had them recovered, and I had them in a Trans Am I owned for many, many, many years, and they served me well. Well, when this car came up, I needed some PMD seats, and my other Trans Am, I had already switched to a different style seat that I wanted. So I had the perfect seats here. So they had been recovered, and this was before I offered the Pirella cloth. So this is actually original GM Pirella cloth, not my reproduction. But had them reupholstered, and they've been in here ever since. So, it's neat, beyond, the fact that this is a TV car, to have that personal story of the seats in there. So just wanted to share that with you. By the way, the door panels in this car are actually original door panels. Everything about these door panels is original, to include all of the fabric. So remember, this wasn't an 82. This is actually a 1984 car, and it was only used in the later couple seasons of the show. But these are the original door panels that had in it. Now, mind you, it did have the PMDs and Pirella, but it just had the Trans Am fabric with the Palex cloth here. But these door panels were in the car. They weren't attached, but they were dirty. So I spent hours and hours cleaning them, and they look like brand new. So, when we restore things, we try and keep as many of the original pieces as possible, even if they're not perfect. But in this case, these door panels are just simply really, really nice. So one other thing I wanted to point out, since we're on this car, the original cars, for the most part, are, I guess you could say, 20-footers, right? Because whenever the car was in a stunt, or it was banged up, or whatever, they would bring it back to the shop at the end of the filming day. They would slap body filler on it and just throw another coat of paint on. Sometimes we've heard stories where the paint was still wet whenever they were sending it back out to be shot with. But I wanted to show you something, just to show you that, these cars, if properly preserved, will never look like a brand new Trans Am. They're going to look worn and used. Now this car has, 15 layers of paint on them. And I want to show you something real neat here. Look at this. Can you see all of the spider webbing in the paint? This whole rear quarter, there's some right there. This whole rear quarter is filled with Bondo, body filler, from stunts, from the car getting bashed on the side. If we were to remove the interior panels, there's about 50 rivets in there, holding metal patch panels, and then it's covered in body filler. So all of this, the reason we don't fix this is because this is history. This tells the story of the car. So as long as we own these cars, these type of imperfections won't be fixed. They'll actually be celebrated, believe it or not. And this trim, all of the cars after season 1 got this aftermarket rivet style trim. It was just more durable than the stick-on GM style. And if we look here, this trim is, it's got multiple layers of paint on it, multiple layers of paint. So, and one other neat detail here, if we go down here, the air extractors, these are all original. And look at this. They would rivet the air extractors on to the fender so they wouldn't fall off during stunts. And there's an original rivet right there. This blackout, obviously the blackout was gone when we got the car, but this trim panel up here is original. We found it in the car, it was unscrewed. We figured out where it went, we got it put back in place, and the original mounts behind here. So only the plastic has been replaced. The rest of it is all original. This license plate, by the way, is not screen used, but It was made back in 2011 by the original company that made the plates for the show. They had leftover blanks. They had enough leftover pieces to make 6 more. So they made us all 6. So we got 6 of these. But we decided not to put an original plate on here for one very important reason. These cars, you know, this car gets washed, right? Not very often, but it does get washed. And it sees, you know, heat and cold and different things like that. And we didn't want to subject a real original plate to, you know, being washed all the time, to hot weather, to cold weather. So we opted to just put a reproduction plate on here, but it's about as authentic as you can get. It was made by the same people, using the same techniques, using the same materials. So we're proud to have it on here. And what's neat is you can see over the last decade, all of the cracks, which you'll find on original plates too. So this plate is aging very, very nicely. All right, so let's look at the semi. Let's give you an update on the semi. So as you can see, he's missing his headlights right now. We are currently deep into the electrical portion of the truck. We're trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And in terms of what doesn't work, we think, besides the auxiliary lights that we just added in our last video, we haven't wired those up yet, but we found the original wiring harness in the truck. So we just have to get those hooked up. Besides that, the headlights do not work. So we're trying to chase some electrical gremlins with those, but everything else so far seems to work. We got the blinkers to work, we got the marker lights on the roof to work, turn signals, all that stuff. So let's give you a little demonstration of the electronics working again. And in fact, maybe we can recreate kind of a famous scene from KITT vs. KARR. So as you know, we have found and are currently restoring the Knight Rider semi-tractor. Despite what you may think, this being beside me, we did not find the trailer yet. This is actually my personal enclosed car carrier, car trailer that I use to haul my screen use kit in. So, but one of the ways that you can help us and support this channel is first to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And also, if you're interested, we do sell some merchandise. All the proceeds go directly back into this channel so we can afford to do things like, you know, find these lost props, restore the ones we have. So things like this awesome semi-restoration team t-shirt. We also have some shirts and some mugs with Garth Knight on them. We're going to be adding much more merchandise soon. And we also have a GoFundMe going to help offset the costs of the restoration of the semi-tractor. So all those things help us greatly. Check them out in the link below. There's links to GoFundMe, the merchandise, and everything. And please share this video. You know, the more the word gets out, the greater the chance we have of finding the trailer. Thanks. Oh, look at that. To quote one of my favorite YouTubers, I'll be dipped. Look at this. It just popped right out. And hey, it's all in one piece. So there's the shell. So now we can go through and see if we can move some of these gauges and really see kind of what's going on back here. Let me bring you in closer for a look. All right, so as you can see, we got the shell of the dash out. And there's some treasures back here. Let's see, what's this? A straw cover. That's exciting, right? And look, mouse turds. So now I hope we can just, get these screws out, maybe see what's behind all of these different panels, and go from there. So let's start digging in. Oh yeah, look at that. We got mouse poop. Everywhere. Yep, a little more back there. Let's keep going. That one looks pretty clean. That's surprisingly not bad either. You got some blanks in here. So look at that. We got indicator lights there. Hot trans, put your seatbelts on, and nothing for the middle. Hot trans. Oh, look at that. I don't know why you can see that, but we got turn signal, diff lock, anti-lock, low air, high beam, low oil, and water. That's pretty slick. I'll have to check all those bulbs, see if they still work. So this number 1641 is from the GMC factory. We found this same number on the top of the radiator once we pressure washed it. So this must have been a job number, production sequence, something like that, but it's not part of the VIN, so we're not sure where it came from. But this truck, maybe before it was assigned a VIN, was production 1641. I don't know. We'll see if we find it anywhere else in the truck. So we got the dash started here. We got a long way to go to get this out, and this is all new territory for me, so we're going to kind of learn together as we go. Steering wheel, as you can see, is extremely worn. Do you guys know anyone out there that can recover this steering wheel back to OEM specifications? If you do, let us know in the comments below. We'd like to maybe pop the wheel off and get that sent away so it can get recovered properly. So here's where we're at with the dash. I got all these gauges kind of pulled out. I'm not going to disassemble them, at least not yet. So they only come out a little bit, but my goal is, hopefully, to be able to get behind the dash and get as much of this mouse crap vacuumed up as I can. It's not too bad behind the dash. My main concern is inside of the air conditioning vents, so that probably will need disassembled. But what we're going to start here is I'm just going to hit the shop vac and try and suck out as much of this as I can, and then we'll go from there. But you can see I got the tack, the speedometer, I got all the gauges kind of pulled out so I can get behind it. So let's start vacuuming and see what happens. So I decided to spare you the last 45 minutes of me wrestling with this air duct here. And I got it all unbolted. I'm about to pull it out. I look through this hole and, oh, is there some treasures in here you're gonna like? So let's see if we can carefully get this out without too much. My goal is to not remove the dash at this point. I'm gonna see if I can get this. I should have access to the whole vent system, I think. So we're gonna pull this out gently. Oh, look at that. Yes. Oh yeah, treasures abound. And look, another mouse. Oh yeah, treasures. We'll clean that later. We gotta clean that next. Check behind it. Oh, let's just reach in and see what magic comes out. Oh yes. Yummy. So disgusting. So disgusting. The things we do for Knight Rider. You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna get my compressed air and blow that out. And it should blow out these front vents. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, mask on. But that's cleaned out. I think we need to get a bucket and some hot soapy water. See if we can get that in there. Gotta take the motor out too and see what treasures are in here. That should be fun. All right, I spared you guys the video because it was a couple hours of work, but I got all of the duct work all cleaned out, including the heater box back here. Before I started, this was completely packed with mice and mouse nests and all kinds of joy. So, and none of these AC controls, none of the vents would turn at all. They were all stuck because it was so jam-packed. But now we've got them working again. Let's see which one is, there we go. You can see they're all working. They're working nicely again. It's all vacuumed out and cleaned out. I'm still toying with taking this out. I don't know if I'm going to. It's a lot of work. But we are going to get in here with hot water and soap, and we're going to get all this cleaned out. We'll get the piece that I took off all cleaned up. So that should help immensely. There was absolutely nothing. You know, we opened this door down here and there's absolutely nothing in there, which is a blessing for sure. But I found 6 more mice. So for those of you keeping track, our total count, I believe, is 15 mice hidden in the semi. Now, I don't want to jinx myself, but I think that might be it. I'm not sure where else they would be hiding since it's mostly gutted at this point. So, as you can see, we've got quite a bit of it disassembled. The dash, we've got the speedo and the tack out. We don't have these other ones out. We started to clean in here. I wish you guys were able to smell what I can smell. Do they make YouTube smell-o-vision yet? I don't think so. Maybe soon. But it smells worlds better than it did when we first got it. We obviously pulled out all of the carpeting. We power washed the inside, which you saw in previous videos. We cleaned out all of the AC ducts, which were filled with mice and mouse nests. So our total is now 15 mice that we found in this truck. All dead, but we found them all. And so we're getting all that stuff cleaned out. It looks like all of the wiring, thankfully, all of the wiring behind the dash is intact and none of it was chewed by mice, which is huge. Everything works, which is, again, another blessing. Nothing we have to track down. So again, it's just the headlights. We got to figure out what's going on with the headlights, and then we'll be in good shape. So a couple other things. The shifter here, this, as you can see, these are all the air lines that help control the shifting. And when we got the truck, you know, this is a 13-speed transmission. So because a lot of the airlines were chewed, none of them actually were connected. None of the 4 of them were connected. So we only had gears 6 and up. So we're in the process of getting all these airlines fixed and replaced. We'll have that done here pretty soon. And then we should have, hopefully, all of our gears. But the plan is, once we get the headlights worked out and confirm everything is good to go, we're going to put the dash back together. We are going to repaint all of the dash pad and all the trim panels that were in here. We cleaned them, but you know, they're faded and they're worn through. The paint has worn through in places, so we're going to get them all repainted, looking real nice. We're going to put new carpet in, a brand new headliner, and we'll get this all put back together. And once it's all back together, the next thing will be the suspension. We are going to be sending the truck out to get the spring suspension put on, to get new tires all the way around, get the new rims mounted, and give it a tune-up, get new belts, get an oil change, and all that stuff. Basically, just get it all ready to go, because when it comes back, we're gonna move and start on the paint. I mean, you know, the truck's coming along, and we anticipate having this thing hopefully done maybe next year, and maybe we'll do a big unveiling somewhere. Let us know if you guys would like that. But yeah, so going back to what we talked about at the beginning, yeah, this is the first time the Flag Semi and this kit have been together in 35 years. And I think that's something to celebrate. A couple other things you guys have asked about regarding our cars, and we'll address it with this car, and then in the future video, we'll do it with the other car as well. So first of all is the scanner. Yes, that's halogen. Not only is it halogen, it is running on original circuitry, this exact same circuitry that the screen used cars run on. When we got this car, the scanner bar was gone. All the controller and the logic was all gone. The only piece of the scanner that was left that is original is the wiring harness from the bar to the relay box. So this is relay based. If you were here, you could hear it clicking, and maybe you still can. Let me come up closer here. I don't know if that's going to come through, but maybe you can hear the clicking. The relay box is under the hood. But thankfully, we made contact and became friends with the guy who worked on these scanners and built the logic for these scanners, and got the schematics, and we were able to faithfully recreate the logic, and I think that's worked out pretty well. The other thing we wanted to bring up is this front bumper. So this front bumper, this is obviously the 4th season style. You can see that there's no turn signal indents or no turn signal covers, nothing like that. This is a resculpt that George Barris did in 1985 for the 4th season. This bumper is rubber. It's actually made of rubber and chicken wire and pieces of aluminum, believe it or not. You can't tell now because it's 35 years old, but it's rock hard, right? But it is rubber. And once again, going back to what we talked about before, you can see all of the hairline cracks in the paint, which we're gonna leave because history, right? It's got all of its original fog lights. All of them still work. All the wiring is original. The relays that power them, everything is original there. And if we slide under the car, besides the cobwebs you'll see, it has original tow bar receivers. So you can see that this style's a little unlike, it's unlike the reproductions. These are actually beefier and bigger than the reproduction tow bar receivers. And you can see the skid plate under there, bolted in place. So This car is ready for heavy duty action. Fortunately, it will no longer ever see heavy duty action again, but the whole front end is all original. I wanted to give you some details on that.
But you said we could have $5 if we did this, and my name isn't Devin.
Oh, just be quiet, Dewey. That's good. Dewey. Debbie. Okay. So I do feel the need to point out that these are actually my children. These aren't actors that I hired, and I'm in no way... Oh, stupid airplane. That's too loud. You're gonna have to wait a second.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peake himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. We are featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.